She said we live.
Hey.
Hey, all right, we are live. Thank you for tuning back in to Let's Talk About It with Xavier Fox, streaming live on this beautiful Saturday. And if you are watching the replay of this show and we're not live to you, you need to start tuning into the live. That's what you need to start doing. We just had a great conversation with Yatu before. He gave us six steps of dating.
Okay.
That's what he talked about. We was talking about the crazy, the PB in the pool.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
I'm sure that was entertaining.
It was definitely entertaining. We had a really good conversation and talked about some stuff. Because this. Everybody's dating style is different. He says he's going to talk on the phone to people before he go on the first date to vet them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to spend that time on the phone because I'm pretty busy.
Got it.
So I ain't got the phone with you. I want to get in front of you, make sure you look like what your picture look like, and make sure you got sense of we got a good energy, that vibe, because that chemistry happens in person.
Got it.
When I look at you, if we got chemistry, then we gonna both feel that chemistry.
That's right.
So I don't want to waste my time talking to somebody and then get in front of them and there is no chemistry. I feel like I wasted time. But anyway, that was just one of the discussions that we had. Okay. So today, you and I are talking about
new beginnings.
All right, Khalid Scott.
Yes.
My favorite marriage counselor. So do you get a lot of new beginnings or do you get a lot of endings?
You know what? I'm very proactive regarding solutions.
Okay.
Because we can talk about problems all day, every day. Sure. But the real work comes when we decide that, you know what? Hey, I'm not going to be stuck and I want to be progressive and I want something new because I deserve better.
Right.
And the climate that we are in now, especially post-pandemic, is that I see people trying to better their lives.
Okay.
And especially in our age range, in our 50s and 60s, where, we've lived full lives or feel like we've lived full lives. We've been married, we've been divorced, we're still married. We raised our kids, we're getting ready to have grandkids or got grandkids. We're solid in our careers. We're planning for retirement. And so we want to leave out the world on a light note. And when I bring up about the pandemic, what I've learned is that those 2.5, 3 years that we sat around, stuck in the house, we did a lot of introspecting and retrospecting. Mm-hmm. We thought about our lives in its totality. And we thought about, am I happy with my life? Am I not happy? And either way, what I'm going to do about it. Mm-hmm. So they said it's been a surge in people going back to school. Because in their head, I want to change careers. Okay. Or people's like, wait a minute, I was able to work from home, doing my job. So I've mastered that. And now my job wants me to come back to that office 5 days a week. Yeah. Not having it.
Yeah.
Not having it.
A lot of people are not trying to do that.
Right. So they're like, I want to become an entrepreneur now. Or I want to find a job that, that celebrates being, having employees that work, virtual. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of them at the VA. I get to be home 3 days a week.
Okay.
And then I'm in private practice now, post-pandemic, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I was always teetering about going into private practice. And then my partner, Dr. Jenny Christerna, she was like, Khalid, come on with it. Come on. It's a need for African-American male therapists. And she touched upon something that was because we've been booked solid for the last 3 years. And now I'm proud to say in the private practice, I have about 15 African-American male clients.
Okay.
So now you all may be saying, well, what's the big deal? Black men in therapy?
Right.
It was unheard of.
Right.
It was unheard of. Now it's in vogue.
Okay.
They're having barbershop talks about, hey, brother, if you're going through something, get into therapy. Mm-hmm. A lot of, when people are going through divorces, the lawyers are telling them, it looks good if you are in therapy, mm-hmm. Because, to be honest, there's a lot of us walking around and we're broken. And when I think about us men, and especially African American men, I think about our brokenness. We live in a world, a country that has celebrated us being broken,
Yep.
has wanted us to be broken.
Absolutely.
And now we're saying no more. So I have 15 men sitting in front of me every week saying, I don't want to be broken no more, because what they realized was, because I'm broken and damaged, I broke you as my wife or my spouse or my mate, and then that broke our kids, which led to our communities being broken.
Our communities are definitely broken.
Right. And if you don't think that I'm telling the truth, look what happened with that Obama thing last week. He got in that office, the campaign office, and said, brothers, be mindful of the candidate that you want to vote for. Really think about how one candidate is versus the other one. But instead of us saying, okay, that's your opinion, I'm gonna take it in, we got mad about it. There's hundreds of videos with Black people like, who does he think he is preaching to us? What did he do for those 8 years he was in office?
Ooh, really?
And it hit me when I was in one video. I saw a man was sitting in his car, and I mean, he appeared to be one of those men's men, like he was a cop or a construction worker. He sat up there and he had this rant, which led to him crying. How dare you talk about me? Oh, and I mean, he was literally crying, talking about President Obama. How dare you down talk me and whatever. And I said, a broken man would have that. It would have that effect on a broken man, because you took it as an insult.
So what did Obama? I missed that whole thing.
Basically, he was in the campaign office talking to a group of Black men, and it's been a talk for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. And basically, what he said is, brothers, are you not going to vote for Kamala because we got some misogyny going on? You don't think a woman can lead the country? And then you're thinking about Trump as a viable option? Come on, think about his record. Think about what he's trying to do. Think about that Project 2025 and what the ramifications that will hit you all more than anybody else. And the men, they were sitting there listening, but when that went out and it went viral, again, and I mean, just literally type it in and you'll see like all these videos, both men and women, saying, how dare he? So that's why she went on a media blitz the last week. She was on the Roland Martin show. She was talking to Charlemagne the God, and then the Shade Room, addressing Black men and their issues with her. Because now she's trying to make sure that Black men see her differently than this ultra masculine woman who wears these two-piece business pantsuits, who allegedly put thousands and thousands of Black men in jail, which they found out was not true.
But you were telling me that the last time.
Absolutely. But the reason why I'm bringing it up again is that when you are broken, you're easily insulted.
Okay.
When you are broken, you feel vulnerable. And when you are vulnerable, you are easy to be annoyed. You are easy to be paranoid about things.
Okay.
But when you're healthy and got a healthy mind, body, and spirit, you're like, okay, President Obama, you just reiterated what I already know. Mm-hmm. Or you know what, hey, brother, that's your opinion. I'm going to really think about the issues and what I need from a presidential candidate, and I'll make my decision once I get in that polling place. Mm-hmm. But to get on camera and make a TikTok video and you're crying, that's some brokenness that has nothing to do with the president.
Right. Yeah.
That's some deep-rooted issues.
Extreme. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It must come from a controlling parent or something like that.
Absolutely.
They're going through some old feelings.
Right. So now we're here talking about new beginnings.
Yes.
So Xavier, I mentioned to you, I think several times, that my count now is 20 people that I know have finalized or they're going through the divorce process.
Good grief.
20. So somebody might say, well, Khalid, you know 20 people, but do the math. That's 20 people that I know that count their spouse. That becomes 40 people. If each one of them had one kid apiece, right, that's 40. Now that's minimum. They got one kid apiece. Well, they have 5 kids or 3 kids. Then think about the in-laws. Think about the friends of this couple. who were at the wedding 25 years ago. When you do the math, that's literally a suburb of people from the two people who are getting divorced. And, you know, with divorce, for those of us who've been through it, it's really death for the living. Because what happens is divorce affects every aspect of your life, your mentality, your heart, your emotions, your financial, your spiritual, your physical. It hits every areas. And then, because why wouldn't it? That was your Walt Disney movie. When we get married, we thinking about Snow White. We think about Cinderella, Princess Tiara, Rapunzel, happily ever after. But let me educate the audience. Do you know where all the Disney movies, what the beginnings of them were? You know where they came from? They came from the Grimm brothers, which were two brothers that lived in Germany. So Cinderella, Snow White, and the Seven Dwarfs, they were horror stories. But what happened was Walt Disney, because he was an adopted child, he took those stories and turned them around and made them fairy tales where each of them had happy endings. Because think about the stories. Snow White, right? Her mom died, then her dad died, and then the wicked stepmother tried to kill her. Snow White, she was abused by her stepmother. You see what I'm saying? So if you think about each one of those fairy tales, they all had a villain.
Yes.
That's where the Grimm brothers took place. But Walt Disney wanted kids to feel like, hey, you can have resiliency, even as a child. So I'm going to put these beautiful cartoon, technicolor movies together, put a nice soundtrack, and at the end, the princess and the prince ride off into the sunset.
Always.
But what he didn't tell us is what happens the day after the sunset. What happens the day after the wedding?
The bills come in.
Absolutely. Snow White got overweight. You know what I'm saying? She had 7 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and the knight in shining armor developed EB.
Absolutely. You know what? You know what? Guys, I can't say. I got you. So, what do you do when your fairy tale has a nightmare ending? You think about your new beginning. Okay. You think about the new chapter you want to write. I got divorced 12 years ago. And I was very heartbroken and sad because, hey, I was the first grandson to get married. Okay. First one to buy a house. And I thought me and my wife was a perfect match, both highly educated, attractive. We both were social workers, and then she had a degree in teaching. You know, when we were sending out the Christmas cards every year, people were like, y'all look like a political couple. You should be running for office. But then I'm very OCD regimented. I'm a military guy. I was a sergeant in the military. I married a high free-spirited woman. So imagine somebody, so imagine Denise Huxtable, you know what I'm saying, marrying, and she did. She married a man in the military, right? Okay. Those are two opposing personalities. When they come together and it works good, it works wonderful because she taught me how to be more spontaneous. Okay. I taught her to have more structure. But when we took off our masks and really got into our own corners and became our true selves, it was polar opposite, right? So I thought I married Claire Huxtable, but I really married Denise Huxtable. And it just wasn't a match. And there was no infidelity, no domestic violence. We just grew apart. Yeah. But the commitment came in for our daughter. I wanted my daughter to have this wonderful life, whether I was married to her mom or not. And I had to make certain, I call them sacrifices, and that's just for the best term I could use. But for my daughter was 10 when I got divorced. So from age 10 to 18, when I dated, never brought anybody around my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And it paid off, X, because I was able to focus in on her and my healing. Because as a social worker, I know the importance of healing. I know the importance of writing a new chapter in your life to be a better person and to learn from all the errors of my previous relationships, right?
So let me ask you this.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not a devil's advocate thing, but sometimes I wonder. I was just talking to Inyatu and about the 20-year-olds now because the dating for them is just crazy. But I said, those are our kids.
Yes.
Our kids, well, my kids are a little older, but so I feel like somewhere it's us that messed them up because they just came here as a clean slate.
Yes.
So it's us that messed them up.
Yes.
So does a child need to see a healthy relationship or a relationship of some kind in order to then be able to form healthy relationships?
Yes.
Okay.
And guess what? The best relationship we can role model to our child is the relationship you have with yourself.
So how do they learn to interact with, especially a romantic or intimate type of relationship?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple of years after I got divorced, I was concerned about the same thing because I'm like, wow, Anaya's not seeing me interact romantically with a woman, right? So I asked Anaya, let Daddy ask you a question. And she's like, yes. I said, Anaya, describe your wedding day. You know why I asked her that? Because we had such a bad divorce, I wanted to know that we turned her off from wanting to be a wife one day and wanting to get married. And my daughter went down the list. Yes, Daddy, I want to get the white dress. I want my close friends to have probably the color. Her favorite color at the time was like blue. I want them to have blue bridesmaids dresses. I want my husband to look a certain way. I want us to live. When she, as 12 and 13 years old, was able to say that to me, I was like, thank you, God. We did not take away her hope of being a wife and being a bride. So then, also, what I role modeled to her through my interactions with women. So, like how me and you are good friends, and we're opposite sex. So my daughter saw my relationship with my mother. She saw my relationship with my female friends, with my family members. And the foundation of, as a man, I was protective. As a man, I was a provider. So if me and you was to go out, even though we're not dating, I'm paying for me and you to go out.
We went to lunch one time.
Right. Mm-hmm. And when I would take Anaya out on daddy-daughter dates.
Okay.
So though she didn't see me hug and kiss a woman like I did with her mom, she saw how I treated women. Okay. And so that was foundational. Okay. So the only thing she didn't see was a hug and kiss. Right. Then fast forward, when my daughter became grown, I've had I used to call it buddy with benefits situation, but it's such a negative connotation with it. So now I've called what me and Tanya have is we're companions, right? Okay. And we've been together 3 years, never one argument. And I attest that to by us not giving each other a title, but setting up our parameters and our boundaries and our minimum expectations. That's why we don't fight. Plus, we both have our own lives. I'm in private practice and I work for the federal government during the day, and I mentor and I do speaking engagements and podcasts. She was a principal working on a PhD. So we had our individual lives. Plus, we have both healed from our divorces. Okay. And we were empty nesters. Okay. So when we get together every weekend, we enjoyed each other's company, right? Because I learned from Lisa, when you put expectations on a woman and she's really not there, she'll fight you. So I don't expect, if a woman wants to cook for me, that's brownie points, but no longer do I expect it anymore. Okay. And then when you don't expect something and somebody does it for you, it feels a little bit better.
It does.
It does. It does. And so
it feels better doing it for the person.
Correct.
It's not an expectation.
Correct. Yep. Before it was like, I man, you woman, get in the kitchen. Right. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my grandfather, my uncles, that's what was shown. You know what I'm saying? But this wonderful show that debuted on September 20th of 1984. What show was that?
Are you talking about the Cosby.
You know the Cosby Show.
That's his show, y'all.
That's my show. Claire would be in the kitchen cooking. She would be nicely dressed. Her hair was done. She cooked for her husband and 5 kids. But she made it real clear. This ain't no expectation. I want to be a good wife. I want to be a good mother. I want to take care of me. And that's when I saw reruns of that. And I'm like, that's it. You never heard Cliff demand. Mm-hmm. She wanted to. He wanted to. Mm-hmm. And then that's the difference. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So part of New Beginnings is, again, learning from your errors of the past and saying, I want to do better because I know I will probably get better results, right? So I asked Anaya, 2 years of dating Tanya, Anaya, are you ready to meet Miss Tanya? She was like, no, it's not necessary, Daddy. I said, well, tell me why, Anaya. She said, Daddy, I remember you told the story of how you told Mommy at divorce court, if you can, please don't bring another man around my child because I'm not going to bring another woman around Anaya. You are her only mother. I am her only father. And Daddy, you lived up to it. But Daddy, now that I'm 21 years old, I'm not looking for a stepmom. But now I can meet her just in passing, but it's okay. And this is the most powerful thing that she said to me. Daddy, because she's your buddy with benefits, that's not a benefit. Once she becomes girlfriend, Daddy, or fiance, then I'll meet with her. You know how powerful that comes from a 21-year-old girl saying that?
Now, she's not going to accept that title.
There you go.
Right. Like, no.
There you go.
That ain't what we doing.
There you go. But even with the situation with Tanya, she knows that that me and her respect one another. You know, we treat each other good.
But, and you know, I think that at different ages, there's different things.
There you go.
Because when we were, you know, I got married in my 20s. So,
okay.
But you know, when you're in your 20s and you're young, you are thinking of, I'm going to have a family.
Correct.
Because that's kind of what we're raised to think.
Absolutely.
So, you know, accepting the buddy with benefits, you know, friend with benefits, whatever you call it, at those younger ages, at her age, no.
No, not at all.
You know,
absolutely.
You are dating, but you're not going to have this committed kind of thing.
Correct.
With one person that's not your man or your fiance.
Correct.
Now, when you get older and you have been married, you got your kids and all that stuff, that's a different phase in life.
There you go.
And you can have different relationships defined different ways.
There you go.
But if you are 20, 30 years old and you looking to be married and start a family, you should never be agreeing to be the buddy with benefits. That's a waste of your time.
Absolutely. And see, that's key. But me and you are in our 50s, and we know how to see the bigger picture.
Right.
And we both been married. We know life after, and we both have had to write what? Our new chapters.
Absolutely, definitely, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And talking about new beginnings also, I want to point out that in your journey of writing your new chapter, in your journey of writing out your new beginnings, use your village. Use your village. At our age, we're supposed to know who our true blue friends are.
Man, you really hope you do.
You are absolutely. You're supposed to know what family members to be around, and the other ones you got to have a long handled spoon with. You know what I'm saying? And for me, my village used to be really big because I grew up as an only child. So I thought I needed 500 friends, you know? But now I got a handful of friends, and that's good enough.
Yep.
Because they have substance to them.
Yep.
You know? And so then, you know, and just like I'm talking about the men in my private practice, now they're trying to move differently. So probably if I was to ask them, those same men 4 years ago, you don't come in therapy, they'd probably be the first ones. Oh, heck no. But you know what? They're pending divorces. They're about to lose their spouses. They're dealing with issues at work. About a handful of my clients have admitted being sexually abused as boys. And X, if you met these guys, these are the men's men.
Wow.
They're the men's men, so you would never expect somebody molested them as boys, but they've been carrying that for 30 years, 40 years.
And it's funny that you say, it's funny how, so where I sit, I get to talk to everybody, you know, and that's the thing that I love about conversations with different people, because in talking to Inyatu, we talked about what's inside of you will come out.
Yes.
And how that affects you, like when you're dating.
Yes.
And so you have people who have been abused in childhood, and they don't think you can see it. And like I was telling Inyatu, I can't remember, it was one of those motivational speakers that said it a while ago. Actually, I think it's the one that died. I can't remember his name though, right offhand. But he said, you know, what's in you is going to come out. He said, if you squeeze an orange, what's going to come out? The orange juice.
Yes.
You squeeze a lemon, what's going to come out? Lemon juice. You squeeze a pumpkin stuff is going to come out, right? So
Absolutely.
what's in you is what is going to come out. And sometimes when you're talking to people, because you don't recognize that you got issues that are showing, they're blaring in front of everybody, because as you speak, your anger, your bitterness, or your sadness, your borderline depression, or your just disconnect from stuff, all of that stuff comes out in your conversation, and then you don't understand why you're not getting a different result from your dates. But when you start to speak and the things that you say, it's telling us that we sit here talk. Those of us who are on the road to healing, because you know some people, we have all different kind of things that happen at all different kind of times in life.
Yes.
There's not just one thing that you're healing from.
Yes.
You may be focused on healing from something that happened in your childhood, maybe abandonment or whatever. But that don't mean that that heartbreak or that abuse that you suffered because of whatever, you know, because you don't like yourself. So there's some stuff that's going to happen when you don't like yourself.
Correct.
You know, and then you got to deal with all of that stuff, but you got to heal that I don't like myself thing, where that comes from. And then that can, but all of that stuff is coming out when you sitting in front of another person on a date. So you have to be aware the responses that you get sometimes is because of what you putting out there. So if the guy, he looks like a man's man and all that stuff, but yet he's dealing with having been violated.
Yes.
You know, so when he speaks, it's some stuff that's gonna come out.
Absolutely.
Because it's inside of him.
Yes.
It can't help but come out.
Yes.
But he don't know that's why the girl didn't call him back, or he don't know that's why whatever happened.
Yes,
because he don't understand that that's why people don't think they need therapy, because they don't understand what's in. They don't think it's their fault. It's everybody else's fault.
Correct. And then remember, whatever ails you or pains you, and if you haven't addressed it, you've learned to acclimate to it. It feels normal. And then when you come into therapy and somebody like me, Dr. Scott, holds that mirror up and says, look at that scar. Look at those freckles. Look at that bump. Look at that lesion. And you're like, I didn't notice that at first. So now I'm telling you as a therapist, here goes some ointment. Let's go ahead and put it on your scars and let's clean up those scars. But it's gonna take a little time, but we're gonna get your face real clear. And then we can sit that mirror down. And I use that type of analogy to let people know healing is good on every level. When you hurt yourself physically, and you go to the doctor and you get bandaged up and you take your medication, you plan to what? Heal. So if this is hurt, if this is damaged, you want to take your time for this to heal. And when your brain heals, everything else will follow.
Yep. The brain is leader.
Everything
else.
It
runs everything else.
Let me ask you, if you don't mind sharing, what's in your new chapters of your life? What has been the most significant thing that has helped you with a new beginning?
Ooh-wee. Okay, so my life has been full of new beginnings.
I got you.
Of course, you know, being a 33-year-old widow was a heck of a new beginning.
Yes.
You know, and then, you know, I moved around a bit. So every time I moved to a different city or state, that's kind of a new beginning as well. So I've had a lot of new beginnings. But at the space I'm in right now, and this new beginning, a real piece of where I am and who I am, more so who I am.
Okay.
Because I believe you really, and maybe it's not for everybody, but I believe that some people really do hit a point where you start to examine the inside and who you really are, what you really want, and you learn, which is one of the things that we focused on in my certification for a life coach, that selfish is not a bad word.
Correct.
And especially in dating, to me, the initial stages of dating,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be so selfish.
Yes.
I'm not trying to show you that I'm giving everything to you because I ain't giving everything to you yet.
Right.
I am there to determine if you're the right one for me yet.
Correct.
And I don't want you to pretend to be nothing. I'm not going to pretend to be nothing. We're going to be exactly who we are, and we are going to organically determine that we fit.
There you go.
And so my new beginning really came from being at peace with me and myself and what I desire. Because let me tell you something. You know I like tall men, right?
Yes.
And society will have you thinking that you the devil just because you don't want to be standing 5'11" and you holding this dude hand. He 5'6". You feel
Right.
like, mothers, we hold our kids' hands. I don't want to feel
Right.
like I'm holding my kid's hand. I want to look up at my hand, you know,
Right.
like that.
Right.
But I had, you know, it was just like when I didn't want to date men with kids.
Yeah.
But society will tell you that you the devil.
Yes.
And so, you know, I had to become okay, apparently, with being the devil. Because all of this stuff, it's the devil. You know?
Right,
So that's
right.
like, hey. Anyway, and so I actually dated a man with kids.
Okay.
Because he was a really nice guy. And I felt like, okay, well, everybody said I shouldn't let that stop me because blah, blah, blah. But then at some point I became resentful. Because kids take time and money.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
child support come right after taxes.
Yes.
You know, and all of that come out your household.
Absolutely.
And so that just wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be the second. I wanted to be somebody's priority for a change.
Absolutely.
And I had to become okay with all the things that I want and desire for that to be okay. And if that's not, and here's the big one. If I can't have at this point, because I already have a husband, I got grown kids,
Mm-hmm.
I got grandkids.
Right.
I already got that. This is what I'm saying. It's at different points in life. I became okay with the fact that if I didn't have what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with not having any of it. Because I don't want to deal with all the rest of the stuff just
Absolutely.
to say I got somebody.
Absolutely.
The point is not to say I got somebody. The point is to add to my happiness.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding.
So that
Add
was my
to.
new beginning.
Add to. That's the key word, add to. When you get into relationships, the person's part is to complement your life,
Yes.
not fill in your holes, not fill in your gaps, not fill in your deficits. Only you can do that. That person is to complement what's already there.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And once we really know that and learn that and adhere to it, then we'll be happy.
It puts you in a whole different space too. You
Yes,
look
ma'am.
at stuff differently.
Yes.
You don't look at, oh, I gotta be in a relationship, I gotta have a man, I gotta have a woman. You look at that person like, are they gonna add to my happiness? They about to bring me some drama.
Correct.
Is this gonna be a struggle?
Correct.
They're not gonna like it because I go do this, I go do that. I'm out on this night. I'm this, that, whatever.
Right.
That's gonna all be a problem for them. If that's gonna be a whole problem for you, then I'm clearly not the one you should be with. It don't matter how fine you are, I am, or how much whatever chemistry we got going on. Long term, now if we got the chemistry and stuff, we can talk about being a buddy with benefits because I'm in that age group,
Gotcha.
right?
Gotcha.
But we're not gonna talk about you being a forever kind of thing.
There you go.
And you learn to distinguish all of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And that is a point where you are okay with yourself because I'm gonna choose me.
Yes.
I'm gonna choose me all the time
Yes.
because I've been here the whole time.
That's right.
I'm not gonna choose nobody else because there's been a bunch of other folks
Mm-hmm.
that have come and gone through my journey,
Yes.
you know, and then I look at life as a journey,
Yes.
you know, and we learn along the way.
Yes.
So letting somebody go, especially early in the game,
Mhm.
because they're not really complimenting where
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let me ask you this. In thinking about, so let's take the example I've been talking about is 20 of my friends who are divorced or divorcing, and they're in their 50s and 60s. What do you think new beginnings for people who are middle-aged? And I mean realistic new beginnings, or should be their new beginnings.
So I'm just gonna be honest with you. So when I hear about people who've been married over 20 years, especially when you get into them 40 and 50 years, and I hear about it, and they 50 and 60 years old, honestly, Khalid, I'd be a little baffled. I mean, I have to assume that there's been some years of misery.
Yes, yes, indeed.
And so I don't think anybody should live life miserable, and I definitely don't think you should die miserable.
Yes.
So you should do whatever you feel will add to your happiness.
Yes.
But getting back in this world, and I don't even know if they would date.
Yes.
They're gonna date?
Yes.
Some of them already dating, apparently.
They sure are, before they signed a divorce decree.
So I just feel like being married to one person for, so I was a 33-year-old widow, so I can't really honestly understand it.
Got it.
My brain won't go there. And we had only been married 5 years.
Okay.
So this 20-some years, by that point, I feel like we one person.
Should be.
That's what I'm thinking.
Should be.
But I mean, I realistically look at the fact, when my husband was killed, we weren't in a bad place and all that other kind of stuff. So the demise of a marriage, I don't know that part.
Yes.
Okay. So to some degree, maybe I romanticize marriage.
Got it.
Because I don't know that other part. I mean, not that we didn't have arguments and stuff. I mean, we have been married for 5 years, so of course we had arguments, whatever. But I just can't see at 50 years old, having been with the same person for 35 years, I don't even know what that new beginning. It has to be sitting down with somebody to talk out and talk through all of that stuff. Because what you gonna do with all them thoughts and emotions?
Yeah. Well, when I talk to my friends or when I'm doing the therapies with people, I tell them, do a self-assessment, right? And tell me what you learned about you in that relationship. Because when we are divorcing, when we are breaking up, it's so easy for us to do what? You're the devil, you're the villain, I'm the victim.
Yeah.
But then I tell people, so if I'm sitting with you and a husband and you're about to go to do a divorce, what I tell the couple right there, there's no villains and there's no victims.
Right.
So then I hear the wife say, well, Doc Scott, he cheated on me with 3 women. So that makes you what, ma'am? I'm the victim and he's the villain. I said, no. Well, how is that possible? I've never cheated on him. I said, let me ask you a question. You said he cheated on you with 3 women, right? Was it 3 women at the same time? No, it was one, and then I found out about another one, and then later on I found out about another one. Why didn't you leave when you found out about the first one? Because I wanted to make it work. Got it, that makes sense. When you found out about mistress number 2, why didn't you leave? Now that it's been a 3rd mistress, you're sitting in here getting therapy. I'm not a divorce attorney. I'm a marriage therapist, so you're still trying to work out. So after the first incident, you're not a victim. You're a volunteer.
Ooh, I know ain't nobody like it when you told them
Absolutely.
that.
But when they regurgitated that, they was like, you're right. You're right. I could have left. I would have got spousal support. I would have got child support. I probably would have kept the house, but I wanted to stay. So but what happens is you stay, but you beat him up every day after that. So by you beating him up and not truly forgiving him, he ran to number 2. Then he ran to number 3 because he needed an outlet. At home, he was getting beat up. He was dealing with his guilt and dealing with that you wasn't the woman that he wanted you to be. So he went on the streets to look for some peace. I often share that my mother was a mistress. Mr. Such and Such came to my house for 16 years and paid the rent.
On this show so many times, we all feel
You're right. You're absolutely
we can all
right.
fill in the blank.
Mr. Lee,
Yeah.
God rest his soul. He came to my house and paid rent for 16 years while still married and paying a mortgage and had 3 kids.
Wow.
So my house became his peace for 16 years.
Jesus Christ.
I cannot imagine paying somebody's mortgage and somebody's rent for 16 years. Can you? Absolutely. So that tells you how desperate people are to be happy. But what if Mr. Lee and his wife would have got therapy back in the 70s? What if they would have been like, we got a divorce? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it would have been a different outcome. But because we was just putting Band-Aids on the problem.
You think your mom would have married him?
She told him that. He used to ask her. And she was like, you think I'm going to marry you and you're going to do with me what you're doing to Miss Dorothy? No. So, but my mother was clear what lane she was in. But see, my mother's decision was based on seeing my granddaddy beat my grandmother and have 5 kids outside the marriage.
Jesus Lord. And then you say someone was with her friends? 3
of the women were her friends. So imagine her and Karen having children. Yeah. About your husband.
Oh yeah, they would be dead though.
Right. You know? So that's what I'm saying. So what my grandmother couldn't do, y'all have no excuses now. Because hers, she was in the 50s dealing with that. 2024, you got options.
Right.
Here in Illinois, once you make 20 years marriage, whoever the spouse is that makes the most money has to pay alimony for the amount of years you were married. So if me and you were married 22 years, after the divorce, I have to pay you alimony for 22 years. So if we get divorced and we're 50, that means I'm paying you till you're 72 years old.
It's almost like a pension plan.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. And so I'm explaining this to the husbands who are in front of me cheating on their wives. Do you? And a lot of guys don't know that law in Illinois.
But it's whoever makes the most money.
Whoever makes the most money.
So in the event the wife makes the most money, then she got to pay.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
See, and you know what? That type of law, is what gets people caught up on this money thing in dating.
Yes.
Because a man either we getting divorced before the 20th year, or you got me for life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the men who are divorcing are like, I'll pay it. Because my daughter ain't here no more. Or my sons ain't here no more. Those was the buffers.
Yeah.
I can't be in the house with her for the rest of my life with all that bickering and fighting.
That's the sad thing about those long marriages. And we talked about that. Not me and you, but me and another friend were talking about that. It's like people get in these marriages and they kind of lose themselves in the marriage. And then once the kids are grown and now they look at each other and they find out they don't even like that person no more. Who you've become, because you've been off with the kids, I've been off with the kids working, and, we come and go on these family vacations and smile for the friends and family and stuff, and, maybe have sex just out of the fact that we both right there, I'm horny, you horny, let's do it. But there's no real connection anymore.
Absolutely.
Once the kids go, that was it.
Right. And now there's another phenomenon happening.
Uh-oh.
So me and you were married 25 years. I knew I should have divorced you 10 years ago, or vice versa. You should have divorced me 10 years ago. But you know what? We wanted the Huxtable family. Because we had the image. We had the nice house in the suburbs, the 3 kids. I'm an alpha, you're an AKA. We go to Trinity. You know what I'm saying? We do everything right. You know what I'm saying? So it's this image. But what happened was, instead of us divorcing 10 years ago, we stayed together in that toxicity, in that dysfunction. And guess who paid attention? Who we didn't think was paying attention? The kids. So now my friends with 20-something-year-old kids, Khalid, my daughter just tried to commit suicide. Khalid, I had to take my child to Christ Hospital to the psychiatric ward. My kid is on drugs. My kid is on alcohol. Khalid, I got a 32-year-old kid who ain't ready to move out yet because why he can't maintain a job. So see, there's a rippling effect with that negativity. Even though you had the intent of being a solidified family, but you were fighting in the house, and kids, you are the two people they love the most.
Yeah.
And when they see that dissension of the man and woman that I love the most, oh, so when I get married, that's what I got to look forward to? When I get married, that's what I got to look? No.
Right.
So you got these 20-some-year-olds like, I have a kid with you, but I don't know if I'm going to marry you.
Right. Right. I don't know if I want to stay in the house with you, and I don't want to have to stay in the house with you.
Right.
You know, we're married. I gotta be there. We're gonna need two. I've heard many couples.
Yes.
Recently, they want to maintain their own space.
Yes.
They could be married. They could spend the night with each other, but they still want to be able to go to their own space. This is mine. My peace. And then go back when they're ready, or invite them over when they're ready.
I have several friends who are contractors, and they said, Khalid, literally, people are getting their houses where, like, the husband will stay in the basement. He'll build a kitchenette and a little bathroom in that basement, and he'll stay down there.
I have a friend. It was in the book.
Okay.
I have a friend, and the one that I moved here, and then he got married. Well, I ain't mentioning no names, so don't nobody know who I'm talking about. Anyway, they got married, and so then I was talking to him. He texted me one morning.
Okay.
And like it was morning. It was early in the morning. I was wondering what the heck he was texting me for. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Right? And I'm like, are you laying next to her texting me? And he's like, no, she upstairs in her room. I said, she upstairs in her room?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He said, we don't sleep in the same bed no more. Yeah. He said something about because he liked to wake up and read or something like that. I know him better than that. He trying to wake up and read. That ain't what he used to wake up and do. So that ain't it. Oh man, that went fast. Absolutely. So and then I talked to him some months later. He was actually having the downstairs area just like what you just said. Yes. He showed me pictures where they had put up the studs or whatever you call it when they put the planks and stuff up.
Okay. Yeah.
They had just put all of that stuff up. Yeah. He's talking about the kitchen and all this stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, what is that about?
Yes.
How you got a whole separate living area?
So now we're roommates. That's it.
You're roommates.
We're roommates.
They'll probably get together every once in a while and have sex.
Yes. If that. It's a lot of sexless relationships out here.
That ain't no relationship in my book. If we ain't having no sex, you could go back where you came from.
But
that's part of the whole point. What?
But we got alternatives. These last 2 years, I've heard more women talk about getting on dating sites, my married female friends getting on dating sites and meeting men. And they got these side dudes who live in Michigan or live in Indiana. Because, see, y'all smart. See, if I'm going to cheat on you, I'm going to cheat on you with her.
Because she right there.
Because she right there. It's convenient. When y'all cheat, I'm going to meet this guy. We're going to stash
him away.
Absolutely.
So you can't find, bro.
Absolutely. Again, what's my passcode to my phone? Well, just take a guess.
It's probably Anaya's birthday.
It's 0821.
Don't tell everybody.
Well, if you take this phone, it's Anaya's birthday. But your phone is your daughter's best friend's son's social security number. Because, especially if you're doing something, you're not going to get found out. You know? Guys, please come and get her. Please come and get Xavier. But we'll sit up here and have nude pictures. And then I had to do a lesson on this. So I said, gentlemen, go to your pictures, hit delete, then scroll all the way down to deleted pictures, go into that and hit delete again. Then go on your computer to your iCloud and delete it.
Damn.
Women taught me that.
You put them on, didn't you?
I'm trying to teach them. Because men are sloppy. We're sloppy. You all are not.
Y'all just be too busy. I mean, that's the whole combination right there. Anyway, you know, men, you guys have great visions sometimes and stuff, and then we are the helpmates, right?
Yes.
And so when we come in and we put all the smaller pieces together that y'all not gonna think about.
Absolutely.
We more detail oriented.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if I cheat, I'm not gonna cheat with the dude next door, because how that gonna work? You gonna see him coming out the house? But y'all gonna cheat with the chick next door because she right there, you can see her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So to wrap up this discussion about new beginnings. Right. I know we went a little over, but always invest in your new beginnings because you deserve it. Take a piece of paper, write your name at the top, and whatever age you are, I'm 55, chapter 55. And then write out on that piece of paper or type out on that paper what you want 55 to look like. Because then you'll think about what 56 is going to look like and 57. X, I don't know about you, but every day when I get on Facebook, I'm seeing a death announcement or an obituary. One of my buddies just died and he was 52. He died in his sleep. Then another buddy of mine, I posted both of it. This is on the thing. Another buddy of mine, he's 48, had a brain aneurysm.
Oh, man.
So he got the staples in his head.
Ooh-wee.
When I see that, it makes me think about my mortality.
Yep.
So it makes me run to the gym 4 days a week now. Mm-hmm. It makes me eat fruits and vegetables. It makes me go for walks. It makes me go out and enjoy company. And you see, I'm a type of person, when I hang out with you, I take pictures. Because I took the buddy who died last week, I took a picture of him at our friend's child's trunk party, not knowing that was going to be the last time I see him.
Yeah.
But thank God I took that picture with him.
Yeah.
So we don't have time to be miserable, like you said earlier.
No.
That can't be misery cannot be your best friend no more.
No.
Toxicity cannot be your sibling no more. Unhappiness cannot be your mate. You gotta want to invest in the new chapters of your life, the new beginnings in your life, because guess what? You deserve it.
Absolutely. The new beginnings. You deserve to be happy. That's what life is about. Happiness and being fulfilled.
Absolutely.
You need to do the things that make you feel fulfilled. You need to be happy. That's self-care.
There you go.
Take time for ourselves. Get that massage. Get that pedicure. Whatever make you feel good.
That's
get
it.
your head rubbed and massaged. Whatever make you feel good. That's what you need to do. And hopefully you're going to do some of that great stuff while we're on hiatus.
Absolutely.
And I just want to thank you for another year of great shows.
Ding.
Yes, and we are on hiatus. That does not mean that there will not be any new shows coming out because we have a bunker of new shows.
Right.
It just means that we won't be live on the third Saturday until February. We're back in February. So I will see you again in February. We're going to have a nice powerhouse show, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff going on.
Over the holidays and
right.
stuff. Oh,
right.
Goodness. I just hope you don't come back with no sad stories now. Because I think one year you came back and somebody had committed suicide.
Yeah, 7 men talked about committing suicide during the holidays.
We don't want none of that stuff to happen. And this is the biggest time of year for that.
There you
so
go. There you
do
go.
what you do.
Yes.
And we will be back in February.
February 2025.
All right, y'all. So if you are watching live, then we got one more coming up for you. We got Gina Lamar Raw, and you know she crazy, and she gonna talk about doing it raw. So she really is. So make sure that you come right back. You got 15 minutes. Go get you something to drink. We're gonna go get us something to drink, and we'll see you right back here on Let's Talk.